WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. The clock is ticking for Lowndes County's 2% restaurant tax. Legislation has to be passed this session to renew the tax before it expires July 1st. That means a local resolution needs to be sent to lawmakers soon, with the city and county passing separate and very different resolutions. The Convention and Visitors Bureau Board, the group that handles the money, has been stuck in the middle of some sort. A meeting of the CVB just wrapped up. Our Parker King has been following the developments. He joins us live with the latest.
Joey, you say time is running out, but we can finally start to see a finish line for these negotiations that have lasted about 2 months. Now, at today's CDB meeting that adjourned just an hour ago, the CDB finally agreed on the $400,000. That's going to be $300,000 for Probst Park, $50,000 for the amphitheater, and $50,000 for 4 slated festivals for the entire year. The one thing that we cannot agree on is when those payments are going to be made. The city requests July 1st. But the CVB requests October 1st. The big thing is that that's when their fiscal years start. Now, the CVB's fiscal year does not start until October 1st, so the city is still going to get their money in 10 years from now in October of 2018. That's really the only thing that we're debating over. The CVB has planned a special meeting next Tuesday, just after the city council meeting, to see if we can finally put this to rest. We'll have details on that as the story develops. But for now, outside the CVB headquarters in downtown Columbus, Parker King, WCBI News.
There could soon be a new requirement for all law enforcement and emergency vehicles when responding to a scene. State Representative Gary Chisholm is sponsoring a bill called the Kalen Kirsch Act. The legislation would require all emergency and law enforcement vehicles to have their lights flashing and sirens on when going wherever they're driving 30 miles per hour over the speed limit. We hear what local law enforcement think about the bill coming up tonight on WCBI News at 9 and 10. Lowndes County supervisors want the state to hand over $900,000 they were promised for a horse park. The county requested and was approved for $2.5 million back in 2015. That amount was supposed to be spread out over 2 years. Lawmakers have already sent $1.6 million to the county for the project. Supervisors approved a resolution this morning asking Lowndes County lawmakers for the remaining $900,000 to be included in this year's budget. The horse park is located just off Highways 45 and 82. Construction at a Chickasaw County school is slowed after $5,000 worth of materials is stolen. Our Jory Talley joins us live in the studio with more. Jory.
Lumber, plywood, and a kerosene heater. These are the types of items taken this past week from the Holka Attendance Center construction site. Now, the Sheriff's Department is needing the public's help to track down the suspects. On Monday, the Chickasaw County Sheriff's Department got a call from Burton Builders about missing building materials at this construction site.
They had a bunch of lumber come up missing, so we sent some investigators up there, and it looked like we had a pretty good load of 2x4s, 2x6s, and a load of plywood stole.
A pretty good load, meaning thieves stole almost 100 different types of lumber and 92 sheets of plywood. It was taken from the soon-to-be-completed Holka Attendance Center. The new building has been in the works for nearly 3 years, since a 2015 fire destroyed the school.
They finally went through all the red tape to get the building process started. Right. And I mean, it's a great thing for the Holka community. And then you know, somebody goes in there and steals a bunch of the material.
Chickasaw County Sheriff James Myers says he believes it happened over the weekend and says the items had to be carried out on a trailer.
We feel like somebody stole it to either resell it or to use. You know, we're needing the public's help on this. I mean, somebody knows something about it. And like I say, the plywood will really stick out because it's got a paint color to it. It's fireproof. So you just don't see that type plywood every day.
Principal Anthony Golding says contractors have gone through extra measures to make the area more secure. These signs now outline the site.
The contractors that we use have the insurance, so ultimately everything that was taken will not affect the school district in any way. We are not going to have to pay anything for the stolen goods.
Golding says although they were saddened by the news, they still plan on a summer move-in date.
This does not delay anything in the school building process, and it does definitely not take away from our joy of having the brand new building that we've worked so hard to get. And it's unfortunate that stuff like this happens, but ultimately Holka Attendance Center and Holka will be fine.
Meyer says this felony investigation is ongoing, and if you see anything suspicious or have any information, call the Sheriff's Department or Crime Stoppers.
Mississippi University for Women police continue to investigate an armed robbery on campus. The alleged incident happened in a parking lot near 11th Street and 5th Avenue South on the MUW lot next to the education building. Officers were called about 7:30 on Tuesday night. MUW says the female student reported leaving the Stark Recreation Center and was approached by a man demanding her purse. She was not injured. MUW and Columbus Police are investigating the incident. The university advises students to be aware of their surroundings and never hesitate to call law enforcement. Movie money is coming to Lowndes County, but not in a good way. The Lowndes County Narcotics Task Force discovered counterfeit cash and wants to warn the public the bogus bills look legit at first glance, but if you look closely, the money or the fake money reads for motion picture use only. The task force urges businesses to keep an eye on money they take in. The bills came in hundreds, 50s, and 20s. Time now to turn things over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. He joins us with a first look at your forecast.
Hey Joey, right now all quiet across our region. A live look in Tupelo right now. Temperatures into the 50s across our region. We topped out around 60, give or take, and now we're cooling back down into the 50s, and it won't be as cold tonight. Fairly benign for us. There is a front back to the northwest that will give us some rain chances as we get into tomorrow. If you're heading out this evening, though, a lot of 40s. We will see temperatures bottom out only in the 40s tonight. But tomorrow, speaking of those rain chances, we do have the opportunity for a little bit of rain. More on that system in just a few minutes.
Well, there was a time when door-to-door salesmen were a common sight. Now it's a rare profession, and there are also some safety concerns for you and your family. Our Victoria Bailey hit the road to Etowah County to hear how law enforcement say you should handle a surprise knock at the door. She joins us live in the studio with more.
Back in the day, going door to door was a marketing, sales, or advertising technique that most communities were familiar with. But over the years, and a few scams later, the profession isn't looking the same.
You know, it's not against the law to do that, but it bothers people in today's society.
If you thought the days of going door to door were over for anyone but the Girl Scouts, Etowah County criminal investigator Jason Dickinson says that's just not the case.
Used to, we had some calls on that, and now we're getting even more calls. There's a group out of Alabama, a vacuum cleaner salesman, and they just really pushy and just go door to door.
It's one of the oldest sales techniques in the book, but the Adams family says these days it can also be one of the scariest.
One of their favorite things is that they're working their way through college. And then some of them just come up and try to sell you something. We never let them in the door, keep the door locked.
What made me very uncomfortable is we will look back out the door and they're walking out of the neighborhood, and I never see a vehicle. I do not like that.
But Dickinson says there are ways to keep your family safe when visited by a salesman.
Always look out the window and see if you know the person pulling up. And if you do not know them and you feel a little hesitant about it, you know, feel free to call 911 and we'll come out there.
The Adams family experiences 3 to 4 salesmen a year. Terry Adams says it may not seem like a lot, but it's enough to keep him on the lookout for any foul play when it comes to a surprise visit.
Definitely. I keep an eye out on things after those people like that are gone. I keep an eye out on things. It's like with my neighborhood here. I know each vehicle, what it looks like, and what time the people are home and when they're not. And you got to be aware of your surroundings, and that's what I do.
Victoria Bailey, Etowah County, WCBI News.
Now, the city has ordinances in place to restrict door-to-door salesmen. If you have an issue in your neighborhood, you're encouraged to contact your local law enforcement. Joey?
An area teacher is working out the formula to mathematical success. We sum up her success when we come back. Is one common denominator, an outstanding teacher. That's no surprise to fifth graders at B.F. Liddell Elementary School in Macon. Their math teacher, April Harris, is our Educator of the Week. Harris is our educator in the spotlight this week. Harris knows how to reach her students. She makes YouTube tutorials, uses clever acronyms, and even makes up songs to keep the lessons going. But it's not just math that Harris wants her students to learn.
Personally, I want them to know that it's always important just to put forth your best effort. If you never try something, you never know how good you'll be at it. And I always tell them our class motto is it's okay not to know, but it's never okay not to try.
Now, to nominate an outstanding educator, you can visit our website, WCBI.com. The future playground at the Columbus Soccer Complex gets the royal treatment. The area will officially be known as Crown Park. Lowndes County supervisors made the announcement today. They say the playground is made possible because of a gift from the Junior Auxiliary Organization. The latest addition to the Starkville business community is having a wild week. Glow was recognized by the president of the Greater Starkville Development Partnership at last night's banquet for providing a model for future businesses to follow. The company has also moved into a new building on the corner of East Lambkin and Jackson Streets. Glow wants to grow its business and help other entrepreneurs.
It's been incredible. It's been awesome to see the transition and to be in a space where we can all fit and breathe a little bit. There's two buildings that we've leased. There's this front building, which will be our office, but there's also space in the back. And something that we recognized as we were growing is there's not a whole lot of space that young startups can actually afford here in Starkville. And so what we're planning to do is utilize some of the space in the back to make what's called a co-lab, where students can come in or members of the community can come in, they have an idea and they want to grow.
The company is preparing to launch its new children's light-up toy in March.
All right, Groundhog Day is Friday in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. The forecast calls for 17 degrees, mainly cloudy conditions with snow, and if there's clouds, that typically means no shadow, and that in theory can mean an early spring. We'll wait and see about that. Your local forecast is next. Stay tuned.
WCBI's Educator of the Week is brought to you by Food Giant, where your neighbors are the owners. First Alert Forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Here's our Alpha Insurance time lapse from downtown Columbus today. A lot of sunshine, some wispy high cirrus clouds coming on through. A pretty nice day. We got into the upper 50s and low 60s just as expected. And we anticipate an opportunity for some showers tomorrow. Not a lot of moisture here, a better rain chance on Sunday with a second system coming our way. So that's what we have to look forward to. There's that moon rising in Vernon, Alabama at Durham's Pharmacy. Not full technically tonight, but big and bright. Hopefully you saw that lunar eclipse earlier this morning. I do want to show you Futurecast. We are clear now. We will become overcast by sunrise tomorrow morning. So get ready to have a cloudy start to our Thursday. And as we go through time tomorrow, there will be scattered rain showers that will develop and move on through with this front. And then we'll clear that out by mid to late evening. Then we'll have more sunshine on Friday. So the rainfall potential tomorrow, probably 1/4 of an inch or less. We're calling this a meager type rainfall considering the drought situation we have around the region, but we'll take any drop that we can get. But overall, not a lot of moisture. As we get into Saturday night and Sunday, we may see a weather system that could give us over an inch of rain across the region. Right now we have dry air in place, more humid air along the Gulf Coast. That is being pulled northward with those southerly breezes, and that moisture will interact with that front right there coming on in from the high plains. So we will squeeze out at least some showers tomorrow in the region. Anything that we get, we will take. You can see that band of showers as we go throughout the course of the day. High pressure for our Friday, sunny but cooler. As we get into Saturday, clouds increase, and we'll have another system come on into the play into the picture for Sunday. That's probably going to be a wetter system across Mississippi and Alabama, some locally heavier rain. And we'll just see how that all evolves as we get into the course of the weekend. But that would probably give us a better chance for moisture versus the one we will have tomorrow. We've got temperatures in the 50s right now. Worst case scenario tonight, low to mid 40s. Clear now, overcast by sunrise. Mid 50s north tomorrow, low to mid 60s south. A pretty good chance for some showers around. But that rain chance overall, 30-40%. Probably not a lot of heavy rain. Mostly sunny to partly cloudy Friday, mid 40s. Upper 40s on Saturday, clouds fill back in. Around 50 Sunday, a pretty good chance for rain. And then as we get into next week, some seasonable temperatures with maybe some more rain chances by Tuesday and Wednesday.
WCBI Sports with Robbie Donahoe is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
Well, there will certainly be plenty more opportunities to notch quality wins with how strong the SEC is this year in the regular season. We're still about a month away from completing conference play. But last night was certainly a missed opportunity for Ole Miss in the SEC as the Rebels once again played well at home, but the 11th ranked Auburn Tigers surged in the second half and pulled away from Ole Miss to win at 79-70. The difference in the game, it was the second half rebounding margin. Ole Miss dominated Auburn on the glass in the first half, out rebounding them 23-16. But it ended up finishing even, 41 apiece at the end of the contest. That's that second half surge that Auburn always seems to find. Defensively, Ole Miss struggled to handle Bryce Brown and Auburn's shooting abilities in the second half, and ultimately that's how the Rebels ended up falling victim to the Tigers. Still opportunities left for Ole Miss and Andy Kennedy to get some quality wins, but AK still trying to figure out his team at this point in January.
I don't know. I think that it's one problem after another. You know, we get Bruce, you know, and I knew it was going to be a little bit of a process. A big difference between Jones Community College and the SEC. And we knew there was going to be a little bit of a transition for him and for Dom. But then we think we get there, and then we kind of have to take a huge step back. We need an inside presence. We cannot be so dependent upon perimeter shots. It's been frustrating. I know it's frustrating for everybody. Trust me, it's frustrating for me because I'm trying to get this team. I don't know what its potential is, but I'm trying to get us to play to our potential. We've shown capable in our last two outings in this building against Florida and Alabama, but we've got to be scrappy, and I just thought Auburn was quicker to the ball to us all night.
For Mississippi State, the Bulldogs are in action tonight at South Carolina. There's been much criticism against Mississippi State shooting the three-point shot. The Bulldogs have really struggled from the perimeter. They're one of the worst teams in college basketball shooting from behind the arc. They continue to do so, but Ben Howland hopes that they continue to play inside through their post player, which just happens to be Abdul Adu, and that way they'll be able to get more open shots and maybe a little more confidence shooting from the perimeter coming up tonight.
What I like is playing through him more. Like Q made a concerted effort to get him the ball multiple times early in the game, and we got it to him to start the second half. And playing through him, you know, because he is a decent passer back out of the post. But playing through him and getting the ball down, because, you know, he's still, you know, looking to pass first, but we want him to look to shoot first when he's one-on-one. And, yeah, but we want to get him more touches so it collapses the defense. If you're just playing out on the perimeter and you have no inside attack, I don't think you're nearly as effective.
So here's the rest of the SEC men's hoop schedule for this week. MSU in action tonight at South Carolina. That'll be 7:30 on SEC Network. And then Saturday, a double dip at 5 p.m. Ole Miss will be in Knoxville. Mississippi State will be hosting Georgia. Your SEC women's hoop schedule starting tomorrow night. Ole Miss will be at home against Vanderbilt, a big one for Mississippi State. They will be at Missouri. That game will be on SEC Network. Sunday, Ole Miss will be at Georgia. And then Monday, the big one, South Carolina and Mississippi State. If you don't have tickets yet, you're going to have to find a way to get them elsewhere because the ticket office is not selling anymore. It will be a sellout at Mississippi State when the Hail State Hoops host South Carolina coming up Monday night. All right, SEC standings for men's basketball. Auburn all alone in first place. They have almost a 2-game lead right now in the rest of the conference. Ole Miss sitting in a tie for 7th. Mississippi State in a tie for 10th. And in the women's standings, you know MSU is in 1st. South Carolina sitting in 3rd. Missouri in a tie for 5th. Ole Miss still looking to notch another win under Matt Insel. That's it for sports. We'll get a last look at your forecast next.
More clouds tomorrow. We will have some showers around the region. Sunnier, cooler on Friday. If you miss out on the decent rain tomorrow, which I think a lot of folks will, better chance probably Saturday night and Sunday.
Yeah, and like you say, we definitely need that rain around
Any
here.
drop is welcome. Very, very dry out there.
Indeed, but at least it's seasonable. We're not down into the single digits.
Yeah, and at this point, we have no major severe weather or winter weather anytime soon.
Sounds good.